Hey business owners, do you want to know something absolutely crazy? Well, most business owners are unknowingly letting their potential just disappear because they're just not being found in the results, and they're doing it by choice. Now just imagine that, saying, nah, I'm okay, I don't really want an extra 50% of traffic you're offering me, Google. Sounds absurd, right? Well, it is. So in today's email, I'm going to show you what you need to do to get loads more traffic, 3 ways you need to be careful, and how to check to see if it worked. So, what's actually going on? How does it happen? Well, it all comes down to a simple but powerful change you can make, and it's adding a secondary category to your Google business profile. So many businesses I see have just got the one primary category and they've never added anything to it. Now, here's a real example, and I can only describe this if you're listening, but here you'll see that a business was ranking like top, number 2, number 3, when people were searching for best pizza near me, or they're doing a search for pizza near me. So this was an Italian restaurant. Now, when they had a secondary category, they were ranking fine for those in the top 2 or 3. When they removed that secondary category, which was to do with pizzas, then it made a massive difference. They dropped out of the top 100 in ranking. So an Italian restaurant, the owner chose Italian restaurant as their primary category, and that made absolute sense. But what happened was that they then added and then took off this pizza restaurant as a secondary category. And that's where their traffic then either skyrocketed or it went and sunk down to 100. So you can test this too. By removing secondary categories and adding them, you'll see whether or not it has a sharp drop in traffic or it increases it to a dramatic amount. Either way, you need to make sure that you just keep it up together and that it makes sense. But there are some things you need to be aware of. And that's why we move on to what you need to do to get more traffic. So how do you know which secondary categories to use? Most businesses fit more than one category. So while you can create custom categories for services, Google requires you to choose from their predefined list for your business type. And here's the tricky part. Google doesn't tell you what those predefined categories are. You have to kind of type them in and they come up when you register your business. So for example, if I go to Google and go to Google Maps and search for web designer, then the only ones that come up are all of the specific categories and the businesses that use web design. And even if they've got more than one category, it just shows that primary category. And here I've got a picture that shows that I do web design, and all the web designers that come up in the results just have web design as their main category, their primary category. But using a simple tool like GMB Everywhere makes it easy to see all the categories. So what it does, it goes into the code and then it then brings them to the fore. So if I now do a search for web design, I can see that although some have only got one, others do have more. So in my example, another one has got service establishment, marketing consultant, another one's got internet marketing service, marketing agency, marketing consultant, web designer, and so on. So GMB Everywhere, a great tool for uncovering the categories that you may not be aware of that could be relevant to your business. So once you use the tool, you'll see a clear breakdown of the primary and secondary categories. The one with a star is the primary category. But before I get those extra traffics coming in on those categories like internet marketing, marketing agency, marketing consultant, and so on, I need to ask a question. I must stop and hold fire because there are 3 things that I need to be careful with. So what are these 3 things? Well, before you rush into those new categories, just bear these 3 things in mind. Number 1, you need to stick to your core business. Google's guidelines state use as few categories as possible to describe your overall core business from the provided list. So if you add irrelevant categories just because you can, that could hurt your ranking and Google could suspend you for that. Number 2, you need to meet customer expectations. You see, if you were searching for pizzas and then you went to that Italian restaurant and they said they didn't do pizzas, well, what type of review do you think that restaurant's going to get? So if you add a category, but you don't fully deliver on what the customers are looking for, then you risk bad reviews, high bounce rates, and lower rankings. And of course, the reviews will be very low because they'll be 1 star, and that won't do anyone any good at all. And the third thing is, if you keep constantly changing your categories, Google doesn't like that. Updating your categories frequently could trigger a re-verification request. If something goes wrong, your business might get suspended, or it might need manual review, which is always going to take a lot longer and probably isn't going to help. So how can you check whether it's worked, these changes, when you add these secondary categories? Well, tracking your results is key. While Google Insights gives you some data, it will tell you what people have called, bookings, traffic to website. It doesn't really break it down on a level that shows you how your keywords are working with these categories, which is really far more helpful and relevant. So to do that, you need to use a tool. So I recommend to my Google Ranking Accelerator members, I recommend the tool Localo, because it's simple, it doesn't really cost a lot, it has some free options too, and you can track the progress and see how your efforts are paying off. So check out Localo if you haven't done so already. So I want you to take action here. Try adding a secondary category, track your results, and then let me know how it works out for you. So just reply to this email. I love hearing your emails. I love hearing your success stories. So do contact me. Just hit reply and let me know how things are going. So keep ranking. And just a final PS. Early bird spaces in my Google Ranking Accelerator program are filling up. I do want to build my community a bit stronger yet, so I still need a few more. So if you want to lock in your spot and grab a discount, there's a huge discount at the moment, before the prices go up, then make sure you click and head over to my website, zanet.co.uk, Google Ranking Accelerator. I'll see you there.